Hey guys, Brendan Clinch, Solutions Architect for the Aruba team here at Synex again. Just wanted to come in today, talk about Aruba's Instant Guest solution and how you can set up a guest page, a guest SSID for your guests when they come in and the different options that are available within that. So without wasting any time, let's go ahead and hop into it. If you head over to instant.arubanetworks.com, that'll get you to the login screen for your Instant Web UI, and you can get in right here to the virtual controller and we can start. So right now I've got two basic networks set up as employee networks, but I want to go ahead and set up a guest network just so you can see exactly what's entailed in that. So if I go ahead and click new here, I'm going to say guest. We'll just call it guest. And when I select the primary usage, I'm going to select guest and the primary usage. Now, there are advanced options anytime you set up a network in Instant, here, and we're talking about SSID visibility, sort of more global configurations for these SSIDs. But specifically, we want to talk today about getting into the authentication type, what users will see, how they'll authenticate, things like that. So let's go ahead and keep on moving. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those advanced options. And I'm going to go over into the VLAN assignment. Now, with guest, normally what we'll do is we'll leave it to the actual virtual controller to assign those IPs. It'll give you a private IP address range that can dole out, per subnet, and you can adjust these things. But we'll go ahead and leave it there for now. And as I move over into the security level, this is really where I wanted to spend the time. What we can do here, as you can see, we've got a couple of different options. So if I click on this little drop-down page for the splash page type, I've got a couple different things available to me. I've got internal authenticated, internal acknowledged, external, and then Facebook. Let's go ahead and talk about this first one, this internal authenticated. I'll leave that selected. Now, internal authentication is basically going to be that the AP is going to authenticate itself. It's going to store the users. It's going to act as the authentication server itself, okay, when the user connects. So basically, when we hop in here into the settings, you can see there's a couple of different options available. We can do a captive portal that's on a proxy server. We just need to know the IP address of that proxy server and the port. There's Whisper. This is a little bit more if you're doing hotspot, if you're more of an internet service provider type doing hotspots. This is wireless internet service provider roaming, but that's a totally different discussion for another day. But most of the time it's safe to say we can leave that disabled. MAC authentication is disabled by default, but you can adjust that, of course, depending on your specific needs and your infrastructure. Then we get down into the authentication server, which right now we have listed as an internal server. Again, because this is internal authenticated, the AP is going to serve up the splash page. The authentication is actually going to take place, in this case, still on the internal server. Let's go ahead real quick. Here's our internal server. I've got some test users set up just so you can see it. And you can set these different people up as well, to be an employee if you so choose and grant them those rights based on your role-based security architecture. But most of the time in here, you're going to see that these people are just guests. So just for sake of example, let's type in a new name. So let's just say, we'll say Linda is the username and Carter is the password. And we'll say Carter again, capital C. And this is going to be a guest, although we could change it to employee if we so chose. I'm going to add Linda Carter to the guest pages. Now I can edit that if I so choose, but really all that is changing what type of role they are or changing the password. So we'll leave that as is. We'll click OK. And it'll take a second to add that user to the network. And then now we've got 4 users. Now she is in there, right there near the top. So I'm going to cancel out of that, and we'll come back to that user in just a minute. It's not encrypted because, again, we're doing a guest network. You can change that, though, if you so choose, and we can enable it. And you can actually choose to do a passphrase as usual. So that is an option that's available to you. That way, what you're not having there in this particular scenario, you're having to, first of all, authenticate to the SSID, and then once you're on the SSID, you're going to have to go one step further, and you're basically going to have to authenticate to the server with one of the usernames available. In this case, we do Linda Carter. I will go ahead and disable that for now just because it's an extra step in showing you, but just so you understand, that is an option. Lastly, just put your focus over here. We've got our splash page visuals. Again, the APE, because this is set to internal, is going to be serving up the splash page, and this is what you're going to see. Now, you can change this. You can actually upload a logo image. Now, just so you see, I wanted to redirect your site over here to the splash page visuals. This is going to be, because again we're on internal, this is going to be where the AP itself is serving up the splash page. And we can change these things. Like you'll notice as I'm putting my cursor over these different elements, it's highlighting these things in red. So if I click on this, for instance, I can change the color of the banner. We'll say that it's blue. Okay. And then I can change this to be whatever text I want to say. Hello, guests. We'll say okay. Please read terms and conditions. We'll just we'll go ahead and just say please read terms and conditions. And we've got a warning: the network's not secure. We don't have this encrypted, so use at your own risk. We'll keep that in place. Now we can edit it above, or we can preview it. If I click preview, it's going to take me to this page. Now, the other option, there are a couple of other options. We can do internal acknowledged. Now this changes things. Obviously, at that point, what we're doing is we're basically just asking the user to accept the terms and conditions, right? So let's keep everything the same. Let's just assume that we kept all of the settings the same as before. Just instead of doing internal authenticated, we move over to internal acknowledged. We'll keep the color scheme the same and everything else. So let's go ahead and click the preview button just to see what we've got here. Now we can go to external. If I click on external, you'll notice this splash page goes away, because now it's no longer the AP virtual controller serving up that splash page. It's now an external source of some kind. We're going to have to know, obviously, the capture portal proxy, so that we understand exactly where we need to send these people to get this splash page when they're going to get it. We're still authenticating. We can set the radius server to still authenticate here, and in most cases that's what you're going to do here. But we can also set up a walled garden as well, which will define sort of that pre-authentication role as to which sites and things like that they're allowed to access. Maybe the hotel site if you're a hotel, or maybe if they're a guest in your lobby, maybe just your website. You can do that here as well. If I click on this blacklist, whitelist, and again, this really is just pulling up our security settings from Instant. But you can blacklist certain sites, you can whitelist them. Obviously, whitelisting will get you what you need in this particular case, but that is available to you. And then lastly, we've got Facebook, and we'll explore Facebook Wi-Fi and how that works in a separate video. Then lastly, there is none. No splash page whatsoever. It's just an open network with open security, open authentication. We could do WPA2 still, so that we're not just letting it sit out there. So like if I am to just say, let's say guest 123 or guest 123, and I click next, okay, just to finish this, it'll show up over here. We'll see our guest network. And once it's there, if I connect to it over on the right, notice I still need to basically authenticate to the SSID. And I did guest 123. I'm going to go ahead and do show password just so I make sure I got that right. And I'll click join. And then once I am confirmed as being joined, as you can see right there, I will go ahead and just sort of confirm that. I'll go to www.arubanetworks.com. And there was no splash page authentication, didn't try to redirect me. It got me right to where I wanted to go. Now there is an option if you would like to have people redirected to your URL. I didn't really point that out when we were setting up the guest, but if I pull this back up just as one last thing here, I'll go ahead and say we'll keep everything the same here. We're gonna have to choose one of the other options besides none to make this work. But basically, we'll do it internal authenticated. We've already got it set up with Linda as the username, Carter is the password, and we'll do. You need to put the HTTP or HTTPS at the beginning. Oh. And we'll do www.arubanetworks.com. And we will go ahead and click next and finish that. And then I'll show you exactly, we'll hop off of this authentication and then we'll hop back on. And basically, let's go ahead and do this. We'll do www.yahoo.com. And when I get here, I'm going to get to the standard welcome to the guest network, and I'm going to put in Linda and Carter. I agree to the terms and conditions. And again, this is going back. It didn't keep our changes because we didn't save the changes before we selected none. Otherwise, this would be blue, and this would say all the things we changed about it. But we'll go ahead and do login. And you'll notice it's redirected me to arubanetworks.com. And there we have it. That is all we need to do. Those are all the options for you available to you to set up your guest network. It's really quite simple, and there's a lot available to you in terms of options. Everything from internal authenticated, internal acknowledged, where we're not worrying about setting up an internal server. We're actually just doing an acknowledgement page, and we can customize the splash page that's being served up in the internal scenarios. Or we can select an external radius server that will serve up the splash page and take care of authentication. We can do Facebook Wi-Fi, which we'll delve into in another video, or we can select none at all and people can just hop on, and we can either choose to have them authenticate first to the SSID and then move them to an authenticated role within the server, or we can just do one or the other. It doesn't really matter. You can set the guest Wi-Fi up however you want to do it, but those are your options. I just wanted to show you how quick and easy it is that Aruba's made it for you to do so. My name is Brennan Clinch. Again, if you have any questions for me, my email address is brennank@synex.com. That's BRENNAN, the letter K, at synex.com. And if you have any questions about Aruba or Synex's role in our relationship with Aruba as their #1 distributor, please feel free to email us at aruba@synex.com, and we'll be happy to help you out. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Thanks.